Good evening. This is Neil Anderson of Envision Estate Planning. Are any of you crypto millionaires? Because I only ask that because I had to I don't know if it was a rare opportunity, but I'm guessing, the fact that I knew about it and it was offered to me, the rare opportunity to buy Bitcoin when it cost pennies. Pennies. I remember this because I had a radio program that dealt with young people, youth. I was doing a lot of work with high school students then. I was in a different career. And positive things they were doing in their community. And one day somebody comes to the radio station and says, "Hey, Neil, I want to be a guest on your show." And I'm like, great. What do you want to talk about? He says, "Bitcoin." I'm like, Bitcoin? What's Bitcoin? I had no clue, right? So, in any event, this guy, who wasn't a youth, by the way, he was older than me too. He starts telling me all about Bitcoin, and to be honest with you, it went way over my head, man. I didn't understand the half of it, and he was like, when I told him he couldn't be on my radio show, he goes, "Well, you want to invest, you want to buy," and I turned him down. So. Anyway, water under the bridge. I believe you live life without regrets. But hey, listen, maybe one of you guys that's listening to this was a little bit smarter than me and invested early on in Bitcoin, made a bit of money, or still holding on to a bit of money. Maybe you're somebody who, as a part of your portfolio, has invested in Bitcoin or other types of cryptocurrency and digital assets. Well, I've got to tell you that these types of assets have made the estate planning process much more complex. And if you own these assets, you want to make sure that they are included within your estate planning documents. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to risk your trustees or personal representatives, the people who you entrust to administer your estate, to be unable to access those or distribute those to your beneficiaries. You see, guys, digital assets like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, it's digital money. It exists in a virtual world, not in a physical form, and uses something called blockchain technology. I remember that was one of the terms that got me early on that I didn't understand. But the blockchain technology creates a public ledger, and the currency is not regulated by a traditional bank or by a central government. Long and the short of it is, you need two keys. There's a public key, but there's also a private key. And you need that private key if you've invested to access your digital currency. And anyone who gains possession of this key can have unrestricted access. So it's something that people safeguard as they should, because you need that private key. Now, since cryptocurrency is a series of unique computer codes, it's stored differently than traditional currency. Unfortunately, if you don't properly plan for these digital assets within your estate planning, they can become permanently either inaccessible or completely lost, and thus not reach the beneficiaries that you intend for these assets to benefit someday. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is it's very, very important that whoever you work with for an attorney to create your estate plan is knowledgeable of these assets. And if you've already done an estate plan, maybe you did it before this was even a thing, years ago, it's time to revisit it. You want to work with an attorney who has knowledge of these assets. And you want you want to make sure your attorney devises a plan that includes a pathway for your personal representative or trustee or the people you entrust to administer your estate to be able to access those benefits and distribute them to your beneficiaries with as little delay as possible. Now, one thing that an attorney should do is make some reference to this digital currency within your estate plan. And what this fundamentally will do is let those trusted people that are going to administer your estate let them know that this currency exists. But as we've already discussed, that alone is not enough, because it can exist indefinitely, forever and ever and ever, if those people are unable to access it. And there is nothing your attorney can do about it. There's nothing a court can do about it. So how do we deal with that? Well, first thing I'm going to say is I like to give the idea of creating a roadmap for your cryptocurrency. A lot of people want to hold very tight to the vest those passkeys, which and digital wallets, and that absolutely makes sense, because in the wrong hands you can lose something that has tremendous value and that you've invested in. However, it is important to create a path so that ultimately, when this is going to be passed on, it can be. So a path for those entrusted people to follow to be able to gain access to those keys. So one thing you could do is hire a separate digital executor to help you manage these assets. There are people, I believe, who do this professionally. A second option could be having a reputable third-party key manager. And I am going to be hopefully reviewing some of these key management companies at some point in the near future, and giving you guys a little bit more information about that. The final thing you could do is actually have a safety deposit box that is only accessible to your trusted administrators after you pass away. But one way or another, there should be a means and a pathway and a roadmap for your trustee, your personal representative, your attorney, if they're going to help them with the probate process down the line, but give them a pathway to not only understand that you've invested in crypto, and that's an asset that you possess and own, and that you want to pass on, but a means to unlock that access when the time comes. On a final note, when you do work with your attorney on this matter, be sure your attorney, as well as yourself, are educated on how crypto assets are treated after death. You see, crypto has a value. It is considered an asset, and it is treated as property by the IRS. So it's important to understand this. It's important for your attorney, your tax advisors, financial planners, etc., whoever you're working with, to have some understanding of the step up in basis and the treatment of this asset before your attorney actually fully devises your plan. So these are just some preliminary thoughts on cryptocurrency. One thing I will say undisputably to you, however, is that it is really, really, really important that your crypto is included in your estate planning. If you have an estate plan and it is not already included, please go see an attorney, whether it's the one you worked with in the past or a new attorney. Make sure that attorney has some knowledge of crypto and can give you some assurance on how it will be handled within the estate planning process. And if you do not have an estate plan, today is the day to do it, because your hard-earned asset could be lost forever if you do not. Over and out. This is the second video in 30 days. Stay tuned. I will be back, and I will see you tomorrow.